Good evening, friends. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Darbari, on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on using silence and non-verbal cues skill of micro teaching, I had discussed about communication and categories. Today, in my present video, I am going to discuss about the components of using silence and non-verbal cues skill of micro teaching. Components of silence and non-verbal cues. The main components of the skill of silence and non-verbal cues are silence. Silence or pausing is one of the important skills in gaining attention of the children. Can be defined as deliberate silence by the teacher during classroom interaction to increase students' participation. If the children are making lots of noise while the teacher is talking, and suddenly if the teacher stops talking, the rhythm of their talk breaks and the children starts paying attention. A short pause also provides time for them to think, thinking and restructuring ideas. Silence given at appropriate place provides opportunities of thinking and restructuring ideas to the students. After the introduction question, the teacher's silence stimulates the students to think as they come to know that the teacher expects from them to think and give the answer. The teacher can use the silence in the class to help the students to assemble their thoughts. Gaining attention. Stopping in the middle of the sentence by the teacher attracts the attention of the students. The teacher can stop suddenly by saying okay, where he wants to attract the attention of the students. Continuing response. Silence also helps in continuing response of answers of the students. For example, if any student stops suddenly while answering the question, and at that time if the teacher prompts and pauses, it helps the students in continuing response of the answer. A long silence and pause is not expected as it increases doubts and tensions. A silence of 3 seconds is sufficient to attract the attention of the students. It is useful when the teacher uses it to give opportunity to the students to answer. Sometimes it is used with the non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues can be divided into 4 categories: facial cue, head movements, hand movements, body movements. Cues. There are 2 types of facial cues: positive facial non-verbal cues and negative facial non-verbal cues. Positive facial non-verbal cues. These cues can be easily observed and the teacher can clearly express his emotions and desires by these cues. Smile. Instead of saying okay, if the answer of the student is acceptable to the teacher can smile and show the acceptance of the answer. The teacher can encourage the students by smiling while he is giving the answer. Smile is a powerful reinforce because it gives the indication to the student that his answer is correct and he may continue to give the answer. Eyes. The eyes plays an important role in non-verbal communication. When the teacher looks at the student while he is answering the question, the students feel that his answer is correct. Negative facial non-verbal cues. Sometimes the teacher demonstrates the disapproval of a student's inappropriate behavior or incorrect response by use of negative non-verbal cue. These are also called negative non-verbal reinforcers. The teacher shows his disapproval without using words. Gestures such as frowning, staring, raising the eyebrows, hands and disapproving stares, tapping foot impatiently, and walking around the students, looking angrily at the responding students, disapproval by hands, shaking the head when he gives wrong response are the examples of such behavior. This type of behavior of the teacher creates fear in the minds of the students and decreases students' participation. Frowning. The teacher's frowning means that either the whole answer of the student is wrong or part of the answer is wrong. This also indicates the teacher's annoyance towards the students. This is perfect negative non-verbal reinforce. As soon as the student sees that the teacher is frowning, the student gets the indication that his answer is wrong and either he should stop answering or he should make changes in his answer. Deep frown. If the teacher frowns is deep, the student is demoralized to answer. As a result of this, the student is unable to think properly, his morale falls down. The deep frown works as a punishment for the student. It is negative reinforce. Light frown. The light frown of the teacher stimulates the student to answer the question. This does not decrease the morale of the student. Staring. Staring is also a negative gesture. At many times, staring indicates that the answer of the student is wrong and the teacher expects more from the students. If the teacher stares at the student for a long time, the morale of the students falls down and he also doubts the teacher. Head movements. The second important non-verbal cue is head movement. Some of the head movements are nodding, shaking head sideways, tilting head, and combination of head movements. Now we will discuss these in detail. What is nodding? Nodding. The teacher can reduce his speaking considerably by just nodding. The student gets an indication that his answer is right and he is encouraged to continue answering. If the answer of the student is very long and the teacher does not nod, it is an indication that the student's answer is not correct. Shaking head sideways. If the teacher moves his head sideways, the student comes to know that his answer is wrong. If the answer is completely wrong, the teacher shakes his head very rapidly, which is an indication that the answer is completely wrong, and then the student stops answering. It can also indicate where his answer is wrong. The third one is tilting head. It is also called cocked head. The teacher can also sometimes go near to the student and tries to listen to the answer by tilting the head, which indicates that the teacher is listening to the answer very carefully. It also gives the feeling to the student that he is being accepted by the teacher, which acts as a stimulus to the student. And the last one is the combination of head movements. The teacher uses this component when the student's answer is too long. Sometimes he moves to say yes, and sometimes he moves his head to say no, and sometimes he bends his head to listen to the student's answer. The balanced combination of movements of head act as a prompter to the student and motivates the student for correct thinking. But excess of movement of the head loses its effect and becomes a habit of the teacher, which distracts the attention of the student. The next one is hand movements. Hand movements of the teacher clearly depict the behavior of the person, includes the movement of the fingers, palm, arms and the shoulders. The teacher uses his hands for various purposes: to communicate his opinion, to accept the opinion, to clarify the teacher-student and student-student interaction. Pointing finger to the students. The technique of pointing a finger to the students help a teacher to get the answer from the students. It is an indication to a student that he is being told to answer the question. It is used after putting the question to the class. Sometimes the teacher, instead of using his finger, uses his palm or all the fingers to indicate the student to start the work, wait, stand up or sit. Shaking of palm and arm. The movement of palm and the arm together indicates that the answer is wrong. The movement of the palm and arms can be used to motivate the students and encourage them. The palm and arm movement can also be used with facial expression like smile and saying yes, moving head. Holding out the arm. The teacher can also use this technique by holding out the arm to pay attention to the student to the lesson. The last one is shoulder movement. Sometimes the teacher uses his shoulder to say his disagreeableness and amaze to the students. I did not understand your intention can also be indicated by shoulder movement. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to my video to motivate me, share it with others and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Body movements. When the teacher moves from one place to another, he tries to stabilize the attention of the students and to make them active. For example, movement of the teacher by going to the back of the class indicates to the student that the teacher expects activeness from the students. The teacher should go near to the shy students when he is answering the question to make him active and encourage the students. But the body movement does not mean that the teacher should continuously move in the class. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video and don't forget to subscribe.